Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Chapter 8 in the ICT syllabus, IGCSE, and this chapter discusses the safety and security, generally speaking, and we have three main points that we need to discuss: health and safety, electronic safety, and the security of data. Now when you come to the health, we have some kind of health risk and the reasons behind them and how we can prevent them. Now we have three main health risks that you need to know. The first one, the risk of typing for a long time or using the mouse for a long time. This we call it the repetitive strain injury, or we can just call it RSI. And RSI can happen, as I said, because of typing for a long time, using your fingers for a long time, or using the mouse for a long time. How can we prevent it? By having some kind of a wrist support or a mouse pad, and by typing maybe using what we call an ergonomic keyboard, which is a more expensive keyboard, but it's really very comfortable when you type on it, or can be prevented by having breaks. The second risk is back problem, and it happens because you might be sitting in some kind of the same position for all the day and sit in a very bad sitting postures or sit in a very bad chair. How to minimize having this back problem because of sitting for a long time? You can have adjustable ergonomic chairs. They are more expensive than normal chairs, but they are worthy to buy them, especially if you are a person who sits for a long time in front of the computer or in a desk. The second one to prevent it or to minimize it is by having some kind of a monitor that is at your eye level, so you don't have to bend down or up to look at the screen. And the third one is by taking regular breaks. The third risk is headache, or you might call it eye strain, and it happens because we stare at the screen continuously for a long time. Especially if we have a bad lighting, this effect might be even worse. To minimize it, we can use an anti-glare filter screen or anti-reflection glasses. You can wear them if you are looking at the screen or you prefer to read out of the screen. And you can even buy a more expensive screen such as LCD or LED screens that they have less number or less amount of flickering inside them, so your eye will not let's say get a strain that quick. Generally speaking, the use of these ICT equipments, we can minimize the risk of using them by using these methods. We can always use ergonomic chairs, we can always use ergonomic workstation or ergonomic keyboards to minimize the effect of having a back problem or having a headache or a strain or having the RSI in fingers or in wrist. However, using these will require you to pay more, so they are more in terms of the cost than the normal one, but as I said, for the long run, they are really worth it. Strategies, generally speaking, if you have the money to buy these, the strategies can always be taking breaks, or if you are looking at the screen for a long time, you can always look away for a couple of minutes and then get back again and look at the screen. Yes? This is what we call health problems. The safety problems is always comes to using the equipment, such as, for example, using your computers or your equipments and putting the drinks next to it. So the drinks might spill on the computer and then damages the computer or cause some kind of electrocution. How to minimize it? Never drink or put drink next to your equipments. The second one is that sometimes the equipments get overheated due to let's say a long time of operation, and if the room is not ventilated or if the fans are blocked for a reason, because you are putting it next to another objects, or you are not cleaning or maintaining or making sure that it's out of dust in a regular basis, then you get what we call it an overheating. Now, how to minimize overheating? Always make sure that you clean the computer and you clean the area where the ventilation happens or the cooling of the processor happens. And the second one, make sure that you put the equipment where you have a very good air circulation. The last one that relate to the safety is the safety of having wires in your office or your home, because people might get tripped over them. To minimize it, you can always duct them or make sure that they follow the walls, they are not in the middle or in the center or in the pathway of the people, or you can use wireless connections instead of having cable connection. Yes, you can use wireless network instead of having a cable network, just to let's say reduce the amount of cables in your office or in your room. Hence, generally speaking, the strategies to minimize the potential safety risk are always have some kind of regular maintenance of the equipments. Always check the cables and plug and make sure that they are not overloaded. Yes, because overloading the socket can cause electrocutions or can damage even the adapters. Okay, use of wireless connection to limit the number of wires in the area, and make sure that all the heavy equipment such as the bags and the plug sockets and the wires are duct under the tables. Okay. Example from past papers in this area is this example, which saying that using a computer can cause problem for the health and safety of the users. Evaluate your own use of computers in terms of health, including any strategies you have advised. Yes, in terms of health, we can get either RSI finger or wrist, and we can minimize it by taking break, by using ergonomic keyboard, by using a mouse pad or a wrist pad for the mouse. Yes. The other one is having a back pain, and we can minimize this one by having breaks or by sitting in a very good posture or sitting straight and make sure that the screen is always in line with your side, or by using ergonomic chairs. The last one is the eye strain or headache that might be caused from staring or looking at the screen for a long time, and we mentioned that we can minimize this one by having an anti-reflection glasses or having anti-filter or having filters in front of your screen, or the which already comes with the new expensive LCD and LED screen. And you can always have a regular breaks. Don't look for hours and hours to your screen. B, name 3 safety issues associated with your use of computer, and for each issue describe a way of minimizing the risk. One of them, we mentioned that electrocution because of spilling drinks, and to minimize it, make sure that your office where you put your laptop or computer is always free of drinks or any kind of spilling liquids. The second one is tripping over wires. Make sure that the wires are very good managed and they can be duct, for example, below walls, below tables, or they can follow the walls, or you can even use wireless connectivity to reduce the amount of wire in your network. Yes. The third one might be the folding of heavy equipment. You can always put the CPUs, the printers, all of these equipments either below your desk or in an area where it cannot fold on someone and causes damages. Next, another question, draw arrows from the terms health or safety to the matching issue. Use a maximum of 4 arrows. The first one, tripping over loose wires. This is considered a problem of safety. Heavy equipment falling of tables, and we mentioned that the equipment should be always put on the floor or under the table. This is safety as well. Clicking on a mouse repeatedly causes RSI, and we mentioned it can happen to the wrist or to the fingers, and this is a health issue. Overloading sockets causes fires, and we mentioned that this is a safety issue. Okay. Next, take 2 health problems that may be caused by the use of computer. When we say health problem, the health can be RSI and headache. And to prevent them or minimize them, what we can do, first of all, we can take regular breaks and put a screen filter in front of the monitors. It can happen, yes. Next, to safety problems. The safety problems is electrocution or fire. To prevent them, do not overload electrical sockets to prevent the fire, yes, and make sure that there are no bare wires as well to prevent the electrocution. Next, electronic safety, and by electronic safety we mean by it making sure that your personal data is always safe. And by personal data we mean that your personal phone number, email address, your personal image, your personal bank account details, medical history, political views, families, and even password, all of these should be always kept secure. Yes? Why we keep our personal data secure? Because it might be used against us. For example, if you put your phone number and address always, then you might have some stalkers stalking you or sending you emails or text messages or even calling you. If you have your information put in public, kidnappers might kidnap you and ask for money, for example. If you are putting your picture and personal views on the internet, some people might use it to blackmail you or threaten you if they get this kind of personal, let's say, data. Hence, generally speaking, customer details could be sold into a third party. For example, if you are posting your emails everywhere, then after a while your email will get sold to companies, and then you will get many emails from advertisers and spammers and scammers, or from people that you don't know, which will just fill your inbox with rubbish email. How to avoid getting these personal data exposed? First of all, make sure that your privacy setting, for example in social media sites, are put correctly. Who can post, who can see your post, who can see your images, who can request your friendship, who can see your phone number, who can see your email. You get the point. And do not share the data with strangers. You never know who they are or how they can use the data that you are sharing with them. Do not post anywhere. Make sure that you always post in a confirmed posting groups, or let's say a site with a good reputation, so that you don't get some kind of bullying or stalking, or let's say scammers around you. Next example. Most data protection acts include the principle that data should be stored securely. List 4 other principles other than storing data securely of a typical data protection act. First of all, the Data Protection Act is your data should not be processed in a way that not advertised. It should always be processed according to the law, law of the company. So the processing of data should always follow the processing rules. The second one, they should not ask you for any excessive information. The company should ask you only for the information that they need, let's say to create the account for you, like your name, your password, the date of birth, your email address. They don't need to know your exact address. They don't need to know your bank account. They don't need to know your political views. You get the point. The third point, your data should not be shared with other company or transferred by a company to another company or another location without your knowledge. Otherwise, your data might be exposed to other people or other parties that they can use it, let's say, to spam you or to send you emails or calls or messages. Okay. The fourth one, if you deactivate your data, the data should not be kept longer than needed. If you deactivate or request and to unsubscribe from a specific company, they should remove your personal data immediately or in a specific period that they always put in their system. The data should not be left there so that anyone can see it or anyone can take advantage of it. Okay, this is what we call them a typical data protection act, that this is just like a rule or set of rules that the companies should follow to protect their customers or users' data. Okay. Next, in electronic safety, we mentioned that we have some kind of safety that we have to follow, especially if we are using the internet or if we are using an email address. If you are using the internet, generally speaking, for browsing or for researching or for your online shopping or banking, you should follow a specific, let's say, recommendations to minimize the dangers of surfing the internet. One of them, always visit trusted websites to avoid hackers and viruses. Always use friendly search engines so that you don't get exposed to unwanted materials and content. And restrict the access to certain content via ISP or filtering software so that they can help you to prevent you from accessing, let's say, dangerous website, or by prevent those websites to contact you or try and access your network. If you are using emails for friends and families, for sharing files, to get in touch with organizations, there are some rules that you should follow as well. First of all, stick with your contact list only. Do not answer strangers' emails, unknown email. Don't answer them. Don't show them that your email is active. Think before opening any email from unknown person, because they might enclose or attach a virus for you. They might be hackers, they might be scammers. And avoid using your real name or picture or school in uniform in public website. Do not share your photos anywhere so that they know where you're from or what school you go. It might be used against you by stalkers or kidnappers, generally speaking. Okay. Next, to protect the security of data, we should know that we have some kind of hazard that happens. One of the hazards is getting hacked. Okay. And by getting hacked, we mean that someone will access our account without taking a permission from us. And this is what we call unauthorized access of our computer system, without our knowledge, without our permission. This is the definition of the hacker. Why they do so? To delete our data, to corrupt our data, to copy our personal information, specifically if we are storing our bank accounts there, our username and password, or to edit our files. So sensitive data could be sold or could be misused. Yes, and they can even steal your identity. When you suddenly find that someone has, let's say, hacked your account and they are using your account to send emails or to contact your friend. Yes, and you might get exposed to some companies where they like to leak private information, such as WikiLeaks. Yes. Anyway, they might, if you are in a company, they might cause disruption and stop your production of the company, because they will be manipulating your data of the company itself. How to prevent or minimize getting hacked? Use firewalls, and we mentioned this in chapter 4. We mentioned firewalls is it can be a software or a hardware, and the main role of this software or hardware to monitor and track each and every incoming package an outgoing package from the network. So this firewall might have a list of blacklisted websites, dangerous websites or dangerous IP addresses, and they will prevent these websites from contacting you, and they will warn you if you are trying to contact them. Always have a very strong password, and we mentioned a strong password is a password that contains capital and small letters, is a password that cannot be guessable in a very easy way. Have some kind of protection software to protect yourself from viruses and from hackers, such as antiviruses and anti-spywares. Some companies, they even hire professional hackers to test the weakness of their system so that they can close all the holes or backdoors in their system and make sure that the system is secure. Next, a virus. It's just a tiny piece of program or code of software which installs and replicates itself in your computer without your permission. So why viruses install themselves in your computer? First of all, to crash the computer, make it slower, open and close application in the background. Suddenly you will find that you have a very slow computer. And they can corrupt your data, or they can delete your data. They can even copy the data, and once you are online, the data will be sent to the hacker email address, data such as account name, data such as username and password. So for companies, generally speaking, they stop the productions and they make a chaos inside the company. Strategies to prevent computer viruses: having some kind of protection software, such as installing antiviruses and update it every once in a while. Do not use software or USB sticks from unknown sources. Sorry. Otherwise, you might get viruses from them. Be careful about downloading attachments from unknown email addresses. They might contain viruses, and they might be used by hackers to hack into your computer and steal your data. A spyware, this is a very popular software used by hackers to monitor everything that you type in the keyboard, and at the end of the day, once you are online, everything that you have typed will be sent to the hacker email address. So it will be sent back to the person who planted that spyware. And then that person will be looking for short paragraph, let's say, or lines, which might contain username, password, credit information, or sensitive messages that you are sending to the others. Strategies to prevent spyware: they use anti-spyware, which nowadays comes with the antivirus software, and you should as well update it. The use of a pointing device, or if you are using a public computer, never use the physical keyboard, use the on-screen keyboard or the soft keyboard. And since these spyware are linked with the physical keyboard, if you are using the on-screen touch keyboard, they will not be able to track whatever you are typing there. Okay. Phishing and spam, both of them happen through email address. You get an email address from an unknown sender. Yes. However, this email might trick you into giving sensitive information. Yes. Or it might advertise some product for you. In both cases, it's not a desired emails. If they are tricking you, we call them phishing. If they are just advertising products, we call them spam. So the effect of them is that the sender will send you an initial email, yes, and then ask you to provide your personal information, and if you provide it for them, they will be misused or used against you. Strategies to prevent phishing and spam in emails: use a filter on your email account so that it can let's say automatically detect unwanted emails or warn you from unwanted emails. And always double check the URL and email address to make sure that you know where or what website you are browsing now. Farming, on the other hand, is more dangerous than phishing and spamming, because this is a code that will be installed either in the web server, for example, in the website you are accessing, or in your computer, and this will allow them to redirect you to another fake website. So you are trying to access your bank website, for example PayPal here, and instead of accessing PayPal website, this will redirect you to another fake but look identical website. Yes, everything looks like PayPal or everything looks like your bank website, however it's just a copy of that website owned by the hackers. Once you insert your username and information, they will grab it, and then your account is being hacked or stolen. Hence the fake website will look like the real website, yes, and the user will be tricked into inserting their personal details inside it, and then their personal details will get stolen. Strategies to prevent spamming or to prevent pharming is using an anti-spyware software or anti-pharming software that can make sure that always your computer and the server or the website you are trying to access is the genuine one. Always double check the URL. If you are accessing the website, double check that you are not redirected into a different website. If you are accessing youtube.com, if you are accessing your bankaccount.com, make sure that the URL or the name of the website you are accessing is the one that you intend to access. Smishing, just like phishing, however, it doesn't happen through emails. It happens through your SMS. They send you an SMS in your number. These fake SMS, they might claim to have some kind of prizes, they might advertise you. Anyway, they will just annoy you, just like this example. This guy here got an SMS telling them that they won a gift of $1,000. Please click here to claim your prize. When you click there, they will ask you for your personal information and they will just steal it. So the effect of smishing is the same like the effect of phishing that happens through email, and pharming that redirect you to a different website. Anyway, they are all trying to obtain your information to use them. Strategies: double check the SMS message, whether you know the sender, you trust the sender number or not. Check for spelling mistakes that normally happens in those messages or inconsistency that will really make you suspicious, and check the link of the website to see if it's a legitimate link, if they ask you to go to a specific, let's say, URL or a website to claim the prize or to check something. Phishing can happen as well. Sometimes nowadays they call you or they give you a missed call and they pretend to be someone else, like your bank, from your bank or from your company or from a specific server or website that you always visit, and they will try and trick you to provide them with some money or personal information that can be used against you. Credit card fraud happen the same. They are trying and steal your credit card, and we call it online credit card frauds. Is when the user is tricked into giving their personal and financial information online to unknown people or in unknown website. It can happen through phishing, through their email, sending you an email, for example, asking you to update your passwords in a specific let's say bank account. It can happen through farming. For example, your bank will send you an email address asking you to visit the bank and see the latest deals, and then they redirect you to a fake website, and all of them can happen because of the spyware software that implanted in your computer. Okay. Effect of the credit card: your information has been stolen, your bank account has been breached, hence money will be transferred from your bank account to other accounts and you cannot prevent it. Strategies to prevent this kind of credit card fraud is always by changing your password or having a very strong password. Make sure that you have a very secure connection when you are connecting to your bank account, and we will talk about this in a couple of seconds. And of course, install some kind of antiviruses and spyware software, and they will check your bank statements once in a while every day to know if there is any suspicious activities. Now when we come to the secure connection, making sure that you have a secure connection with your website, this one can be known by the security socket layer. If you are accessing a website and in that website your information has to be transferred, such as you are accessing an email and they ask you to put your username and password, you will find that in the website they are using a protocol that we call HTTPS, and this S stands for security or encrypted transmission. Okay? So if you go to eBay, for example, you will find that it's HTTP, stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is a protocol that is used to transfer web pages between your browser and the server, or between you and eBay. However, they are using the secured one. That means the information now transferred between you and them is encrypted. Yes, no one can understand it. And you always know this by having either this S, by having the green color here, or by having this padlock. As you can see now, this guy is trying to access the Royal Bank of Scotland, and as you can see here, since he's accessing the bank, everything should be encrypted. So the security protocol is being used, the padlock is there to make sure that everything is secure, and even the name of the bank is being displayed in a green color. All this just to show you that now it's safe to insert your username or password, or it's safe to transfer money or to check your account, generally speaking. Okay? Encryption. Let's talk about encryption. The S in the padlock or the S in the HTTPS protocol means it's encrypted. And by encryption we mean the process of converting the information in the form that it will be meaningless to anyone except the one that has the key. For example, if I would like to send hello to someone and I would like it to be encrypted, I will use a key, an encryption key. Yes, this key can be just mathematical equation. Instead of H, for example, I will send the number 8. Instead of E, I will send the number 5. Instead of L, I will send the number 12. It can be as simple as this, and it gets very complicated. Anyways, the key is not shared. The key will be only with me and with my destination. Yes, with my destined address, with the person that I would like to send this message from. So when the data is being transferred, encrypted, it will be transferred as codes only. So no one will understand what this means. However, when it reaches my destination, yes, my destination should have the same key that I used to encrypt the data here, and it will decrypt it back into a meaningful text or a meaningful message. So this is as simple as it can get. So to transfer the information, if you have people sending information to each other, these people will share a key between them, and they will use this key to encrypt the message and decrypt the messages sent between them. Okay? And this, to be into more details, we call them a public key and a private key. For example, if I would like you to send me messages, encrypted messages, I will send you my public key. All of you will use my public key to send me back encrypted messages. Who can decrypt the messages? Only me, because I'm the only one who has the private key. That's why they always tell you never share your private key, because your private key is the key to decrypt the message back into a meaningful message. You can always share your public key. You can always give the others the public key and tell them, if you'd like to send me encrypted messages, if you'd like to send me a secure message, please use this key. Who has the other key? Who has the key that can decrypt it back? Only you. And that's why we call it the private key. So anyone will have a public key and a private key. The public key can be given to anyone else so that they can send you, and your private key will be the only key that can decrypt the message back into a meaningful message, as you can see here. Okay, this is the encryption that happens whenever you are accessing a website and whenever you see these kind of protocols such as HTTPS used in the website. That means your browser and the server are sharing a public key. Yes, so whenever the browser sends to the server will decrypt the information using its own private key, and if the server is sending you any information inside your browser will use its own private key to decrypt it back. By this, any hacker that grabs the data will not be able to understand the data. Okay. Next, to the encryption itself, how we can make the data more secure. We can make the data or the authentication of the people who are accessing their account or different account more secure by making sure that they use a very strong authentication. And the very strong authentication is, one example of it is having a very strong username and password. But nowadays we don't rely on password, because password can be copied by people, password can be guessed by others, password can be stolen. So the new way of authentication that you can see now in mobile phones and in general computer is using some kind of unique characteristic of the human beings. These unique characteristic can be used to authenticate them, yes, and we call it biometrics. So now instead of using a password, you can use your fingerprint to access your account, or you can use your retina or iris scan, or you can use your face recognition, or you can use your voice recognitions, and all of these are were discussed in chapter 1 in details. Their advantages and disadvantages you should always know from chapter 1. Okay. Next, the security of data. We have a problem in securing the data that's been stored far away in the cloud. So nowadays, instead of storing the data locally inside your computer or telephone, the information might be linked and stored in a medium that is far away from you to back up the data. This is what we call them cloud storage. Advantages with cloud storage is that you can access it from anywhere, from any other devices. So you can put some pictures in the cloud. These pictures can be accessed by your phone. These pictures can be accessed by your laptop. These pictures can be accessed by your desktop if all of them are linked to the same account or cloud. So by now you don't always have to follow or to carry your phone to get your information. You can still get it even if you don't carry the initial device that contained the data. Why? Because the data is now stored online. Yes? The security issues of this cloud is that the data might be lost, and it happened before. Suddenly a corruption might happen in the cloud. If you are a celebrity, for example, people might hack your online storage account or your cloud to share your information and images. You don't know who's securing the cloud or who can access your data in that remote location. Yes? So that's why nowadays companies are making their own private cloud. If you go to Google, they have their own cloud. Apple, they have their own cloud. Facebook, they have their own cloud. And they know all the employees that they can access the data of the customers, and they make sure that the data is not vulnerable or accessible or shareable by, let's say, any foreign company or foreign people. And it's secured from hackers. Okay, so the advantage of cloud is storing your information online where you can access it from any other device at any other time. The disadvantage is that if it gets hacked or corrupted, you lost the data. Now, when you are sharing, let's say, opinions and discussing topic online, these what we call them forums. And forums are divided into two. Some moderated forums, controlled forums, where every post that people are posting will be checked by administrator before they accept it. And the advantage is that the administrators will know that this post is genuine. You are not attacking someone else. You are not providing fake news or fake information. You are not providing inappropriate materials, and you are one of their, let's say, registered members. So moderated forums will always be trusted forums or let's say secure forums. Unmoderated forums, which is posts that can be posted online by anyone. It can be reliable, it can be fake posts, they can attack others, it can be repeated, so no one to moderate it or to double check the post before it's being posted by the person. Okay, that's why if I ask you which one you should use, the moderated or unmoderated forums, you would say that moderated forums are more secure and posts are regularly checked by the admins for any kind of evaluation or inappropriate post, which will be deleted, and even the membership of that member will be let's say deactivated. Now, sending information through the internet nowadays is dangerous, because your bank might send you the information and might tell you that I am your bank, I am from your bank, please make sure to visit and update your password. How can you trust, how can you verify that this email that you just got is from your bank and not from a hacker? Now, they made a company that will issue what we call a digital certificate. So whenever you are opening a system, let's say now I open a system and a website and I called it ICT.com, and I registered an email with the name get ICT help at ICT.com. Now I will go to this company and register my emails. I will pay them money and they will register my emails as the emails for the website ICT.com. The email, let's say holder name is Muhammad Mustafa, he is in Sudan, he is in a specific company. You get the point, the address of the owner of the emails, or these, so that if I send you an email and you would like to identify or verify my identity, you can just click and double check whether the email is really coming from ICT.com or it's really coming from me or from a hacker. Hence, digital certificates are used to verify the identity of the sender, online verification. Yes, whenever you have some kind of business transaction. It also provides opportunities for the receiver to give an encrypted response. For example, whenever I register my email with this company, I will put them or give them a copy of my public key. Remember, I said that I can share my public key anywhere, but I will never share my private key. So I will put my public key, so if anyone would like to send me an encrypted email, he can use the public key enclosed with my certification and send me that email. When I receive the email, I will use my private key to decode the message and make it meaningful message. Okay? And this is, I think, what we need to know now for chapter 8. I hope it's been informative for you, and I would like to thank you for listening to me and reviewing this chapter with me. See you later.